James here, and this is the 9th Java tutorial, and in this tutorial we will cover arrays and array lists. So arrays are basically a way of storing many variables inside of one variable. So the inspiration for them comes from basically, how do we store a bunch of variables? Do we have to create different variables for each one that we have to store? So like, let's say we want to store 20 names. Do we have to create 20 string name variables? So like name1 equals Jane, string name2 equals James. I mean, we would have to create a new variable for every single name that we wanted to add. And our program would become very unwieldy very fast. So the solution to this is arrays. So basically, to use an array, let me go ahead and erase all this, is we do string double brackets, so left, right, square brackets, and then we're going to call it a name, so names equals new string array, and we're going to put in 5 names. So basically, let's say we want to put in those 5 names now. Now remember in Java, arrays are always indexed from the 0th index. So we always start off at 0, so names 0, that is the first index in the array, equals Jane. Names 1 equals Bob. You know, I actually have to put in double quotes. Bob. Names 2 equals Jock. So basically, that's how you set up the variables in an array. Now, let's say you want to add more than 5 to it. Now, if you wanted to do that with arrays, you would have to, basically, you'd have to do something like this. String temp name equals names, and then we do names equals new string array 10, and then we have to copy over, so like names sub 0 equals temp name 0, and then we have to go through each one of those, and it's kind of a pain in the arse because we can't actually resize arrays on the fly. We can't just say something like names 5 equals new name. Java will throw an exception saying that, hey, you went out of the bounds of this array. So, I mean, if we were to do something like, actually it'd be temp name. So if you tried to go beyond the 5th element of this array, which is actually in temp name now, then it will throw an exception. As you can see right here, array index out of a bound. So basically we're going out of the bounds of what we already allocated for it. So basically, let's break down this statement before I move on to another topic. So basically, we declare a new string array, call it names, and set it equal to a new string array with 5 elements in it. Keep that word in mind, elements. So there's multiple elements in an array, and when we go over for loops and for each and stuff, we'll be talking in elements there too. So when you get the 0th element of the array, 0th index, kind of see those two thrown around. You'll usually see indexes thrown around in for loops and then elements thrown around in for each. And we'll go over those more in detail too. But basically, to resize the array is we have to create a new one, store the old one, and then we have to copy over the information. Java provides a class for that, for us, for that same purpose. And it's called an array list. So array list, and then you'll see these pointy brackets, so string names equals new array list, string name. And the nice thing about this is when you add more elements to it, it'll automatically resize on the fly, so you don't have to keep track of, oh, do I need to create a new array list and copy over everything? No, you just keep on adding stuff to it until you're done adding stuff to it, and you still go through it. There is a little bit of difference with it. You don't use square brackets to index it. You have to do names dot get, and then you have to give it an index, so 0. And I'll grab the 0th index of the array. So if we do like names dot add, so we have to add them differently. James names dot add Jack names dot add not add all Will, and that's how we basically add more names to it. And if we want to get one of those, we just do syso dot names dot get, oh my gosh, get 0. So we get the 0th index of that list. And we see that it's James. Now you may be thinking to yourself, well, what's the point of storing all these values if I still have to do a separate statement to get every single one of the values? That's where loops come in, and that's where the next tutorial will take us. But I want to give you an introduction before I go over loops to arrays so that we can use loops more effectively, per se. And we actually loop over values besides just numbers. So, thanks for watching. And that is pretty much a crash course on arrays and lists. And we'll be going over them more in depth once we get into loops, which will be the next tutorial. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.